Imagine collapsing in the heart of the jungle, surrounded by tigers. Do you think they would spare you or see you as their next meal? Watch this incredible story and tell us what you think in the comments. The jungle sun was high in the sky, its heat pressing down on the forest. Ethan, an experienced ranger, wiped the sweat off his face as he carefully moved through the thick underbrush, looking for any signs of poachers. He had heard reports of illegal traps being set in the reserve, putting the tigers he protected in danger. His rifle was slung across his back, but he hoped he wouldn't need to use it. As he walked, Ethan spotted faint footprints on the ground. Human, not animal. They led toward a group of trees in the distance. His heart raced. The poachers were close, but the heat was making everything harder. Each step felt heavier, and his throat was dry from thirst. His radio crackled, but there was no signal. He was all alone. Still, he kept moving, determined to find the traps before it got dark. Little did he know, his body was nearing its limit. The sun was burning down on Ethan's back as he continued through the dry grass. His canteen was nearly empty, and every breath felt painful. He had been walking for hours, tracking poachers, but the heat was draining his energy. His boots felt heavy, and his vision was blurry. He wiped sweat from his forehead and looked at his radio. Silent, no signal. He was completely alone. Then, up ahead, he saw something. A rusted wire snare hanging from a tree branch, the kind used to trap tigers. His heart raced. The poachers had been here recently. He crouched to examine the area, looking for fresh tracks, but a wave of dizziness hit him. His knees buckled, and his head spun. He needed to turn back, but before he could, his body gave out. He collapsed under the shade of a tree, his breath shallow and his limbs too weak to move. His vision went dark as unconsciousness took over, leaving him completely helpless. A deep, low growl pulled Ethan from unconsciousness. His body felt heavy, and his throat was unbearably dry. But instinct made him open his eyes. Shapes appeared around him, golden in the fading sunlight. His tired mind struggled to understand what he was seeing. A massive tiger stood just a few feet away, its amber eyes fixed on him. Beside it, a tigress stood quietly, and a small cub peeked from behind her legs. Fear shot through Ethan's body, but he couldn't move. He was helpless. If the tigers decided to attack, he would have no chance. He prepared himself for sharp claws or crushing jaws, but neither came. The tiger, a huge male with a thick mane, stepped closer, sniffing the air before letting out a soft huff. The tigress did the same, then sat down beside her cub as if settling in for the night. They weren't hunting him, they were watching him. Ethan was confused, but his exhaustion grew stronger. As his body sank deeper into the ground, he realized something incredible. The tigers weren't his enemies. They were protecting him. His mind drifted in and out of sleep, but in the haze of tiredness, a memory came back. It was from years ago, deep in this very reserve. Ethan had been new to the job when he heard the cries of a trapped tiger cub. Rushing toward the sound, he found a small cub caught in a poacher's wire trap. The mother, a strong tigress, paced nearby, her angry roars echoing in the air. Ethan knew it was dangerous, but he couldn't let the cub die slowly. Carefully, he approached with his rifle slung over his back, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. The tigress growled but didn't charge. Kneeling down, Ethan used his knife to cut through the tough wire. The moment the cub was free, it stumbled back to its mother, who nuzzled it protectively before turning her gaze to Ethan. It wasn't a threatening look. It was a look of understanding. That memory came rushing back to him now as he lay weak beneath the tree. Could it be? The huge tiger standing over him was that same cub, all grown up? The bond that had been formed back then had never been broken. It had only come full circle. The afternoon sun cast long, golden rays across the jungle. The air was thick with heat and the hum of insects. Ethan remained still under the tree, his body weak, but his mind sharp with the presence of the tigers. The massive male, Leo, sat a few feet away, his golden eyes glowing in the fading daylight. The tigress and her cub curled up next to him. Their bodies were relaxed, but their ears flicked at every sound. They were standing guard. A pair of hyenas appeared at the edge of the clearing, their eerie giggles breaking the stillness. Normally, Ethan would reach for his rifle, but he had no strength left. He didn't need to. Leo lifted his head and let out a deep growl. In an instant, the hyenas slunk away. That was when Ethan understood. He wasn't just being watched. He was being protected. Whether it was instinct, recognition, or something else, these tigers had chosen not to harm him, but to keep him safe. His fate wasn't in his hands anymore. He was at the mercy of the wild, but he was safer than ever. With this realization, exhaustion took over again, and Ethan drifted into a restless sleep. The next morning, the ranger station felt uneasy. Ethan was missing. He hadn't checked in, and each passing minute brought more worry. His fellow rangers, led by his closest friend Alex, quickly prepared to search for him. They knew the risks: poachers, dehydration, or even a predator attack. Armed with rifles and tracking dogs, they followed Ethan's trail, scanning the dry grass for any sign of him. Hours passed under the burning sun. Then, one of the rangers spotted something: footprints, then another, leading toward a tree. They rushed forward, only to stop in shock. A pride of tigers was gathered near the tree, watching them. Alex's grip tightened on his rifle. Had they found Ethan first? Was he even alive? But then, to his surprise, the large male tiger, Leo, turned his head toward the tree, almost like he was showing them the way. Alex's heart raced as he knelt beside Ethan, pressing his fingers against his friend's neck. A pulse, weak but steady. Relief flooded through Alex. "He's alive," he called out to the team. The rangers moved quickly, preparing to carry Ethan on a stretcher. But Alex couldn't shake the feeling that Leo was watching him. The large tiger stood just a few feet away, still, observing. The rest of the pride stayed nearby, their golden eyes glowing in the morning light. None of the tigers showed aggression. They were calm, simply watching. As the rangers carefully lifted Ethan, Leo took a slow step forward, his deep breath shaking the air. Alex froze. Was the tiger going to stop them? But then, something amazing happened. Leo let out a soft sigh, almost like a breath of relief, and stepped aside. The message was clear: go. The tigers had protected Ethan through the night. Now, they were allowing him to leave. As the rangers carried Ethan toward the vehicle, Alex glanced back one last time. Leo stood tall, watching them leave, a silent guardian, a protector of a bond that could never be broken. Ethan stirred as the sound of the engine and voices woke him from his foggy sleep. His body ached, his throat dry, but he was alive. He was safe. Blinking in the bright light, he saw Alex's relieved face above him in the back of the rescue vehicle. "We thought we lost you," Alex said, his voice thick with emotion. Flashes of the night before returned to Ethan's mind. The unbearable heat, collapsing under the tree, and then, the tigers. "The tigers, they didn't hurt me," Ethan whispered, his voice faint. Alex exchanged a look with the other rangers. "They protected you." Ethan's mind swirled with disbelief and gratitude. Whatever had happened out there, one thing was clear: he had survived, not despite the tigers, but because of them. Weeks later, Ethan returned to patrol and saw Leo watching him from a distance. The large tiger stood on a rocky hill, his golden mane flowing in the wind. Their eyes met, not as enemies, but as two beings with an unspoken bond. Ethan's journey into the wild had started with a mission to protect, but in the end, it was the tigers who protected him. In that moment, fear turned into trust, and a bond was made, one that would never be forgotten. Nature has a way of surprising us, reminding us of the deep connections that exist between humans and animals. If you enjoyed this incredible story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales of survival, compassion, and the beauty of the wild. Stay tuned for more unforgettable adventures.